work anymore. The buzzword is, it's a happy universe. There's free energy. The world spins on its axis with nobody paying any bills. Yet we are all brainwashed to understand that we have to pay for energy. We have to pay and pay again. And this is where we're going wrong, because the monetary system is what's holding this planet back. The internet is now the freedom device which has united us, and now we're uniting ourselves with consciousness, because we can do up here what we do with our internet. As I say, oil and money and that, we're moving into a new free energy world. The world, as I say, spins on its axis with nobody paying any bills. And I've told my students that all my life. I teach physics and chemistry. I did 33 years, it killed me. There's my scars, battle scars to prove it. I ended up having a heart attack 2.5 years ago. It's a genetic complaint in my family, because we can't slow down. They gave me a quadruple bypass, so I'm here courtesy of the NHS, God bless them. Here we go then. This is my website. So I'll put it up here. Get started. Slideshow, begin. There we go. Start from the beginning, right, okay. Now, the universe is a very fun place, it's an interesting place. It's created out of waves. Okay, first of all, forget about solid objects, it's all waves. This reality that we live in is as real as television. Okay, so everything's made out of waves and it's real as television. Very simply, you can demonstrate this with a slinky. Okay, so here we have a slinky. Transverse waves go up and down, that's your mobile telephones, TV and everything else, electricity. But scalar electromagnetic waves, longitudinal waves, go that way. And this is what makes matter. Matter is all made out of light. That's all it is, electromagnetic radiation. How does it make matter? Well, simply the wave, instead of doing this, a little bit of the wave breaks off and makes a subatomic particle, which we know as a donut. There's a donut. So the whole universe is made out of electromagnetic donuts. So Homer Simpson was correct. Donuts are everything. There's something beautiful about that shape as well. It's a toroid or donut, whichever way. You can dress it up in fine mathematical language and science, which is done to confuse people, or you can just call it a donut. Donuts are great. So, electromagnetic donut becomes a subatomic particle. That's a quark. 3 quarks make a subatomic particle like proton, and 3 subatomic particles make an atom. I'm going to talk very fast because they've given me 45 minutes, which is just enough time for me to get warmed up, let alone actually do anything. So I'm going to go rapid like this. The human brain can take in lots of images. You can show somebody an image in a split second and they know exactly what's on the picture. So you're going to be using your visual memories rather than your audible memories. And just as you flash a picture up, you can memorise it and see it. So here we go. This is one of this year's crop circles. On my many adventures in Wiltshire in the last 15 years, it's unblocked a lot of my mental processing. That's my website, ravenecho.com. All my books, everything free. I don't do money. We're moving beyond money, so it would be very hypocritical for me to charge money for anything. So we have to pay our energy bills exactly here. Certainly we're still stuck in that paradigm. But it's very, very essential that money just goes around the system. It's not to be hoarded. And that's where people make a mistake. They hoard all this and then, like Japanese, fine, they're very rich, but you've got nothing going on. So here we go, very rapid download, 45 minutes. We'll see if we can get through it all. Okay, the buzzword this year in the fields and everything is unity of consciousness. Instead of being individuals, we are all now progressing to helping each other and just linking in consciously with each other. So many synchronistic events have happened here since 8 o'clock this morning. It's like a centre of synchronicity. And the more you notice this synchronicity happening, the more you will bring it into your lives. It's part of this law of attraction. It's a quantum law. You basically, whatever thought forms you give out, you attract towards you. So if you give out negative fear thoughts, then you will get negative fear things happening to you. If you give out happy, positive thoughts, then you will be bringing back good things happening to you. And this is the paradigm we're moving in. There is no fear. The powers that be want to control the planet through fear, like the Roman army. Fear, death and taxes, that was their policy, and it's still in action nowadays. We're now starting to rid ourselves of that system. 2012 will be a turning point. It's only a blip on the map, it's a turning point. This is Terence McKenna. He developed Time Wave Zero through his shamanistic journeying, through using DMT and things like that in the Amazon jungles, and wrote this program called Time Wave Zero. Time Wave Zero appears to be incredibly accurate. I've looked at it over the last 15 years, and we are descending into a massive trough of novelty at the moment. And you can see every day you turn the news on, there's some massive novel event. I'm wearing my New York t-shirt today because Hurricane Irene is just slamming into New York. So I thought it'd be very topical to show my support for New York. Wouldn't it be nice to see the Illuminati underwater tomorrow? That would really make my day tomorrow if I open up the papers and see that happening. All the financial centre, the World Trade Centre and all that lot underwater. I actually ended up bizarrely in the Federal Bank vault in New York by some weird... I was in a crop circle 1 minute and then I was in the Federal Gold Reserve in New York and 33 Liberty Street, just 33 Masonic super number, and Liberty put together. And there was $250 billion worth of gold in this vault. None of it American, it's all foreign. But it's all there underwater. He said, well, the door's actually waterproof. So I thought, well, we're going to find out tomorrow. See whether it is waterproof. So yeah, do the experiment. That's what I always say. I'm a practical scientist. Let's do the experiment. Okay, so this translates, and there's many fine websites on Mayan calendar and things like that, so you can research that yourself. We're coming to the end point of a big cycle and a small cycle, and this is to do with galactic alignment and energy that's coming into us, and it's like day and night. We're going into day, and we're waking up consciously. Our pineal gland is opening and things like that. You need to know about fractals. Everything's fractals. We're based on fractals, the sky, clouds, trees, fractals. Time is a fractal construct. We're coming to this little whirly point up there, and time is iterating tighter and tighter. That's why everything seems to be getting faster. We seem to have history repeating much quicker now, because it is. These layers of time are an illusion, and they're stacked like pancakes on top of each other. The Mayans depicted this in their pyramids. You see the step-like pyramids over there? It's actually layers of time being shown as one interpretation. Remember, this is my journey. Your views are all important. It's not me brainwashing you. Everybody's on their own journey, and your journey is just as valid as my journey. All I'm doing is I'm sharing my experience with you to give you a bit of confidence. So whatever journey you're on, and I enjoyed the speakers we had today because they're all bang on the money. Fenlander is absolutely past life druid. I mean, it's just fabulous. And he knows so much in bringing out of his memory. He's written in a book, excellent book, and just joy to see people doing stuff like that. I mean, this is how we go forward. Most of the universe is missing. 96% of the universe is invisible. This is a big secret. Well, not a big secret, it's a big mystery to all the materialists who dwell in this little 4% matter and space. Unfortunately, you can't get their head around it, the fact that we probably all exist multidimensionally, and the fact that most of the ball games are going on in this area called dark energy and dark matter. And in fact, all the dark matter is just different frequencies. So we're like on BBC One, you can store frequencies using waves, because waves, nothing's real. Things just nest together, so you can store frequencies together. And we're like BBC One, and there's neighbours on BBC Two, and various other channels, and they're all descending and coming into our reality. A lot of it is, the extraterrestrials are not extra at all, they live here. They're actually ultra-terrestrials. They actually live in a slightly higher frequency, and they dwell here all the time. We just heard about Bluebell Hill. It's a hotspot. He's quite right. It's all over the place. These hotspots are everywhere, but some bits of the Earth are just a bit more energetic, and where things are closer, the veil is close. So Wiltshire is a massive hotspot. On the face of the planet, Wiltshire is the #1 hotspot. There are 3 hotspots on the planet. One is under ice, one is under the ocean, and the third one is in Wiltshire. And this is why most of the weird stuff happens in Wiltshire, because it's where the energy comes in from our sun, information energy through the consciousness of the sun, and the sun gets it from the centre of our Milky Way, and the Milky Way gets it from the centre of Andromeda, and so it goes on like a giant neural network throughout the universe. Again, there's loads of YouTube videos and explaining this from various other speakers. The yantra, the Siri yantra, if you actually go Om, that's the picture you get. How did these people know all those years ago that you actually get a geometric pattern like that if you go Om, primal vibration universe? The universe is made of vibration, there is nothing else, only vibration. Here we look at the layer you used to. If we look at the top one, then that's the layer of the atom. Okay, that's 10 minus 10. Don't worry about numbers. It's all the information centre. It's all made of strings. You've all heard of string theory, probably. And strings can store information. So you have loops, which are like an on button, and you have bits stuck up, which are like an off button. So you have a giant quantum computer. Exactly like the ones and zeros on our computer. So the universe is a giant memory machine. Everything in energy whirls around and vortexing, and here we see a picture of a wormhole, and this is what's happening now. The crop circles issue are mainly wormholes, and we're entering a phase where wormhole science might be being used. We think the Americans have been using wormhole science since the 1970s. There's a thing called Project Pegasus, whereby they've been travelling backwards and forwards in time using Stargate technology. And a lot of the crop circles this year were wormholes and Stargates. So we're starting to enter this phase of going beyond this physical reality that we live in and examining, we're becoming a galactic civilization, really. If we create a wormhole between 2 layers of space, here's our layer of space going around there like that, and we create a wormhole, we've got a shortcut to another time and place. Travelling in a starship, at the speed of light even, would take me ages to go around the sheet of space-time, but in fact I can just open up a wormhole, join it to another one, and I can nip through. This is how we think that some of our neighbours who live a long, long way away in the universe, 400 light years seems a long way away to us, it would take 400 years at the speed of light, they can actually pop in about 7 hours because they just travel through the wormhole. They speed up, travel through the wormhole, and then pop out the other end and come and see what's going on our planet. We're actually their children. They now know that all that junk DNA in our body is actually ET DNA. It's actually been deliberately disconnected, and it's now reconnecting. And it's reconnecting on its own because of the energy vibrationary fields of the Earth, which is consciousness. I'm not built like other humans. I am actually an alien. This is what they said. You're not built like other humans. Dr. Hargroves, stroke consultant. They thought I had a stroke April 16th, 2009. I thought I'd blown my brains out because it was all the things you get in that stroke advert. I thought, whoa, here we go, this is it. And then he took all this scan, and 5 days later he said, don't take any more warfarin. He said, you're just built different. You've got all this complex plumbing here. This is not normal. That's not normal. This is more normal on that side. That's not normal. So I have a far more complex blood supply on the left side of the back of my brain, which makes my brain work more efficiently in that quarter. And this seems to be the modem part of the brain, because our brain is a modem, that actually is responsible for tapping into subconscious memory. Now, past lives, really, I've just lived with it all my life. You'll see in a minute, you'll wonder who you're talking to in a minute. Because I just see all this stuff happening at the same time. And in fact, we do actually live in the now universe. There is no past, present, and future. It's just a function of our 3D reality. We're stuck in the matrix, actually, the physical atomic matrix. But outside the matrix, where our consciousness develops, we are actually only now. So you can access all your memories now. So really, there's not. It's like somebody said to me, well, actually, there's no such thing as past lives. I thought, yeah, you're right. There isn't. It's just now. It's just now lives. Now lives. All happening now. And I'm accessing what they're feeling. at different parts of my life, and it's synchronous with my age, which is incredible. This is why people get drawn to places, and they find themselves on holiday somewhere at a certain age, and think, whoa, and then think, oh, I've got a deja vu experience, because your subconscious is taking you back to a place. A chap called Stephen this morning, who was a fascinating chap, and we talked for 40 minutes, and he actually was drawn to a cemetery in Belgium, at Ypres, and he was drawn there about the right age when he turned out he was a soldier in World War I and got shot, and he's buried in that cemetery, and his subconscious just drew him back there. And in this life, he's got problems down this side of the body. He was already shot in the head, and he's carried that over into this life like an echo. So I am a little bit different, because one of the questions I used to have was how come you can remember, I can't remember? I actually got, when I got to about 11, I actually got quite worried that other people couldn't remember things like I did. I just thought everybody could remember. I didn't realise that it was just a bit odd. Now everybody is remembering, because there is a process of waking up, and the whole, lots of people now, especially go down to Wiltshire, they're all switching on to their past. They all know they were in Egypt. They know they were a Druid. They know they were this, that, and the other. They know they were burnt at the stake. There's lots of that going on. So another picture of all my weird and wonderful blood supply, and I've probably had this since birth, so it explains why I was born with it. So therefore, you have to look at me as a key. I'm a key, right? I'm one of you, I'm human, allegedly, and I am a key, and therefore I'm a living key, like a gatekeeper. Now, funny enough, Bailey's, my name Bailey, which is Scottish, is the keeper of the keys to the castle. So this is one of these, can't be too much of a coincidence, because the universe runs on coincidence. This is how it works. Everything runs on coincidence. So Baileys historically hold the keys to the castle keep. So you have to look at me as a key. This is my raven symbol. I was a Viking, and my name was Ravenshoe, which is raven shield. So that for me is a very powerful symbol, and symbols are very important. This is why crop circles are very important. And people, when I did talks on crop circles years ago, people say, oh no, they can never affect mine. So I used to do a little test. I used to hold up a cross and say, how do you feel? And I used to hold up a crescent moon and star, say, how do you feel? And then I used to hold up an Om symbol, say, how do you feel? And then I'd hold up a swastika, and everybody would erupt. There would be a total... people shouting, getting emotional and stuff like that, because I held up a swastika, because of the association with the Nazis, even though it's a very ancient symbol. Right, this is what I did when I was a kid. This is me age 13, Bleeding Woods, not Bleeding Woods, this is Chatham, Dargotswood, Chatham. I made all the clothes myself. I was reliving the American Civil War. I made my first gun when I was 9. You can read about it in the book, it's all free. Just download book free. I made my first gun when I was 9, and I fired it with electricity. So terrorists, forget terrorists, because terrorists got it born in them. They're going to be terrorists because they've got a grudge against society and they can remember. It's amazing there's not more terrorists, really. Luckily, I'm a nice person. I didn't want to go around blowing up the federal government again, so I was quite happy just exploring reliving my own memories. Again, this is not normal. It carries on. 5 years. This is me, age 15. I built a cannon. I used to fire my cannon in the garden, I load it with wheat killer and sugar. And this is a neighbour from hell. I've got this child who's declared the garden next door as the Confederacy, and he's now blowing holes in the fence with a cannon to anybody who wants to attack him, try and drag him into the Union. The flag's very important because it's got 13 stars on, and of course, you all know about that. And of course, the pentagrams are very important. So here's me reenacting a very specific commissioning ceremony. The main trouble was, in my last life, I never got commissioned. I got all the letters to prove it in the book. I found out all the information. I desperately wanted to be an officer. If I had been an officer, I could have married my true love. And the Colonel wrote down, I recommend Bailey as an excellent soldier, as a drill master. This is September 1863, after Vicksburg and Gettysburg. The last thing a Confederate government want is a drill master. If the Colonel had written down, I recommend Bailey as an officer because he's damn good at killing Yankees, I probably would have got the job. So, Here's my flag. I made a flag when I was 13. My father was amazed. He said, "You're nuts, you can't sew. Why have you bought all that material? You haven't spent your Christmas money on it." I said, "Yes." He said, "You can't sew. What are you going to do with it?" I said, "We're going to make a flag." 6 weeks later, I made a flag. It turns out to be the same flag that we carried in the 5th Georgia Cavalry. Here's me with one of my weapons. This is what I call door chime carbine. I made a film in Bleeding Woods, just up the road here, with my other Confederates, aged we were 15 there, 1970 it was. Again, this is going on. This is not normal. This is not how you impress girls. How do you win girls? Oh, I'm a Confederate officer. Look at me. I used to walk around Ramsgate dressed as a Confederate officer. What is going on? One of my best friends, who was all bother boys in those days, went a two-tone tonic stripe and the Cromley and that. And then there was the greasers. He came at me. He said, Ian, "Why are you dressed like that?" I said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "Look," he said, "you're a great guy." He said, "You look good." He said, "You're okay. Why are you dressed like a prat?" So in there, I went out and bought some modern clothes. So I thought, okay, I'll buy some modern clothes then. So that's what I did really. Okay, I try and impress women by being a Confederate. Here's me firing a musket I made at school. I made a musket and a bayonet when I was 13 at school in woodwork and metalwork. Can you imagine that nowadays? What's your project? I want to make an Enfield rifle musket, sir. Yes. Now, why would you want to do this? You know? Luckily, I've got a firearms licence now and black powder and that, and I don't actually blow myself up now so much because I've actually got something that actually works properly. So here's a picture. You know, this is not normal. And then it's not normal doing this. This is when I go to university. We can't do the American Civil War, so I'm in the English Civil War. And I had to have that uniform. I had to make the uniform on the right with the yellow jacket. It had to be that. I had to make the helmet. I made the helmet out of a saucepan. I bashed it with a hammer and made it out of an aluminium saucepan. It's actually silver and it needed to be black, so I actually felt tip the picture because my subconscious wouldn't go with it. I even made another set of armour when I was older, just before I went to Germany when I was 30. I made another set of armour when I worked at Hartsdown School in Margate. Because you always had to go and hide after the exams, because otherwise they found you jobs to do. So I used to go in the metal workshop bashing around, you know. Other people walking around with a bit of paper pretending they're doing things, but I thought, no, everybody does that. I'm going to go bash in the metalwork and make things. So I made this, and I went to Germany, but I wore this in the officers' mess in Germany, because I went when I was 30 to work for the army in Germany. And at the same time, when I found out about my past life, I was 30 when I went to Germany, and I wore that armour. So here's me doing medieval stuff now. This is me, I made all the clothes, I made everything. There's me, Henry V, Adjutant Corps. You know, what's going on? This is just not normal for this person. And there's me doing Vikings. This is Viking ship at Peggle Bay, which is a wonderful trip. I made all the sword, I made all the armour. Again, this is not normal. I was actually recreating, what I know now is I was actually recreating everything that I had before. I was bringing back into the material everything that was in my subconscious, because I was collecting all this stuff from my many lives. I even cut the head off a cross. This is a gold cross. Again, extreme memory reenactment. I bought a gold cross in a jeweller's in Ramsgate, and I didn't want to wear the cross because I associated it with repression and control. I was reliving my Viking memories, so I cut the top off a cross and I inscribed in runic language Mjolnir, which is the hammer of Thor, and I wore it on my chain whilst I was at university. I had a St Christopher my mum gave me, and bizarrely it actually cracked. Actually, I've never seen a medallion crack, but it actually cracked just wearing it, no force pressure. So perhaps my energy was too much for it, I don't know. Crop circles. Crop circles changed my life. Once you step into the crop circle, that's it. I was a mechanical scientist. I used to go and measure these things because I thought they were flying saucer nests. I went down to Wiltshire and I went there at 6:30 in the morning with my daughter. We climbed Silbury Hill at 4:30 and some people said there's a crop circle, Windmill Hill. This changed my life because I just said to my daughter, this is just amazing, we need an aeroplane. And within half an hour, I'd gone back to the Barge Inn, which is well known to everybody in High Street, and Werner Underhub and Ulrich Cox were just going off to go to Microlight to film the new crossover. So within an hour, I found myself up in a microlight, and I took this amazing picture number 13, which was just happening nice on my film reel. And that I just thought, oh my God, how'd you do that? Two guys in a pub get pissed, they go out with a board and some string, and they make a fractal geometry Julius set that's 200 feet across and 197 circles, just for something to do. And like my German friend, Jack, who's a scientist, he said, just get the kids with some chalk, try and draw that on the playground floor, see how accurate they can draw it. It's actually computer perfect, and it's Windmill Hill. And that crop circle that was on the start of the slides was actually at the same place this year, and it's very special to go and visit it. We visited it. Again, drawing us back to the familiar. So, gazing into the looking glass of time, I spied a familiar reflection. Now, why did I do all this? Well, I had cancer. When I was 26, I had cancer in a lump for a year, and basically they said, why are you still alive? And they did actually say that in those days. There was none of this counselling stuff. Why are you still alive? And I said, well, I didn't know I had to die. And they said, well, if you don't have this treatment, you might be dead within sort of like 6 weeks, because people spread all over the body. You've had it a year. You know, this woke me up, because I was 26 and I suddenly woke up. So I suddenly got interested in physics, quantum physics. Is my worst subject in science. I love biology, I love animals, I wanted to be a medic, I love chemistry, but physics was just like, I wrote physics on my book for 7 years, and I never understood why it was called physics. Nobody ever bothered to say it's the physical universe. So as a little child, I just wrote it on my book for something to do without knowing why it was called that. So if you're with a child, always explain everything to somebody, because you can't just accept that they know it. I find now my daughter, who's 22 now, knows a hell of a lot and is super confident, still has massive holes in her knowledge where she asks me the most simple thing. And you think, oh, you're 22 and you don't know that. Right, so here's pictures of me. So I found pictures of me. If you think and you draw the answers to you, you'll get your answers. My only answer was, do we live again? Do I get another chance? That was my one question. When I was faced with dying, saying you've only got 3 months, do you get another chance? Is this all there is? And this was in 1979, when things were still pretty basic and nobody had advanced this process that's been going on. The crop circles opened it up in 1989, and this process has been going on the last 20 years of everything unfolding and people becoming much more knowledgeable and spiritual. So these things came to me. These are all pictures of me scattered through time, a bit like a Time Lord. So here we go. This is the journey. You can read Rebel Spirit. It's free. You just download it off the website, ravenecho.com. You can talk to me anytime. Email me, you can do it on the website, you can Facebook me, all sorts of information. So, this is Alexander Bailey Kell, same spelling. I walked into a bookshop in Folkestone and I found a book with the same face and the same name as me in the American Civil War, and I just picked it at random off the shelf and I opened it at the random page. And there I was looking at myself. That's how the universe works. My daughter dragged me to the shop. I didn't want to go. I was tired. I'd been, head of science at work and knackered. Oh, Daddy, come and go. She wanted to buy Agatha Christie book. So I reluctantly went there. I went there to Civil War photographs. I always thought I would find myself in a Civil War photograph. I always thought I would walk in one day and see myself in a painting. So I already knew, my subconscious already knew what was going to happen. But we now know as scientists that the subconscious does actually act ahead of time. We've done experiments. People are shown images, and they will be shown nasty images of Holocaust and things like that, randomly in a load of normal pictures. And people prepare themselves for the shock before the image arrives. So the subconscious already knows what's going to happen and it's preparing itself for the shock. So I already knew, somewhere in my head, that I would find this photograph. I couldn't remember because my conscious mind wasn't, forgets things and, oh look, it's butterfly chasing, So shiny stuff. So your subconscious is what's important. Then I thought, oh my God, it's me. And I've got the same stupid haircut. And the reason is that I had ears that stick out. And as a kid, I was always very conscious, and I think he was the same. So I found a guy with the same face as me, the same eyes, and same name as me, and I had reenacted all his memories. When I read about him, I had reenacted all his memories as a kid without knowing. Transference of memory, so as a scientist. In fact, I wrote it to paper. Because when I rode a horse when I was 14, having never been on a horse, I actually thought there might be some genetic way of transferring memory. So even as a child, I wrote a little paper, about 4 pages in biro. I wish I'd kept it now. I don't even know where it's gone. It got lost in the matrix. But it actually shows you I was thinking, even as a kid, I was thinking about this memory. So here's a picture of me, and then suddenly I was a closet Confederate. It's like being gay, you know, I'm gay. But then I suddenly even come out to the closet. So suddenly, yes, I am a Confederate. Everything I know, I cry when I hear the American National Anthem. God Save the Queen does nothing, but the American National Anthem, God bless America, sir. Pass the ammunition. I love the Americans, they're so politically incorrect. Right, this is what one of the children said at school. Now, one thing I noticed then was that he had the same mark. It's not very clear on here, but there is actually a slight mark on the picture. And I have the same scar here, and I have a fleck in my eye. And this actually goes back to Saxon times. This is actually on Knapp Hill. We had a battle at Adam's Grave, and I sat on Adam's Grave and Knapp Hill for 15 years, feeling like it's home, only to realise it was home. And in 492, actually 592 rather, we had a battle there, and I lost my eye because I didn't have a helmet on. That's why I've always got to think about helmets. You've always got a decent health and safety gear, you know, what you do. William Bailey's even got the same mark on his, it's not very good on the thing there, but you can see he's got a little white mark. Van der House, who painted the painting, made it very accurate. Then I noticed, just like Fenlander said this morning, it's interesting that he had the triangle thing as well. There is a triangle relationship between where I lived in Georgia last life and this life. That we have all the same names in Georgia. I was born in Darien, but we have Dover Bluff, Dungeness, St Mary's and Folkestone, and my daughter's name's Harriet. And there it is on the map of South East Georgia. And in fact, Chatham County was where I was based in the Civil War in America, around Savannah. And I did my reenactment at Chatham, up the road. So, in fact, when I went to Georgia, I had to get out the car and stop, because it's like going through Blean Woods. It's just 6 times bigger. I actually stopped the car and said, oh my God, this is Blean Woods on a large scale. Same thing. Absolute matrix copy. South East England, South East Georgia. Matrix copy of each other. Either deliberate or subconscious or whatever. I was born in Folkestone, there's St Mary's, Dungeness, Dover and Herne Bay. Herne Bay is the equivalent of Darien, and we have a house in Herne Bay seafront. So, I'm reliving everything, and when I look at the chimney at Sheppey, which you can see from here, from down the road there in Herne Bay, I can see that out of our porch, and I sit there looking at it, and it's exactly like looking at Sapello Lighthouse. Sapello Lighthouse in Georgia is the same image. I'm sat there looking at the same image in the same geometric position. I paint. I express my memories as paintings, and I said, so I started painting all these paintings, and this we all found it. Basically, we found all these were real. These were real paintings, and I had a witness, and I said, if we find out it's real, you know, down the line, you can vouch that I painted it now without knowing, just out my head. And the Americans, after a while, this is my brother who was on the Alabama, started to say, there's my brother who was on the Alabama with Admiral Seams. They said, how do you know this? You know these things, this actually happened, this is real stuff. And then in the end they just said, you must have been there. And this is the guy, this family here, this guy here became Lieutenant Henderson. He actually became a lieutenant. There's a picture of him with his commission, lucky bugger, he became a lieutenant. I wanted to be a lieutenant. And I failed my commission. I didn't get my commission, it ruined my life, it ruined my whole life. So I remembered it, of course I remembered it. And they said, we are his relations, we've been trying to explain to our children what their great-grandfather did, and thanks to your painting, we were able to show them, and they got it instantly. And they said, here's a picture of him, and there he is with his uniform, and there's what I painted. Out of my mind. So, there's the last round. There's me firing my white shirt. This is us trying to hold back Sherman and stop them all wrecking Georgia. This is my way of negotiating with governments. I should have been a Libyan, really. I should be out of Libya. Because I hate violence. I do not like violence. But if somebody with a big stick pushes you around, sooner or later you're going to have to do something about it. Nowadays, now I know all this, I just say, right, kill me. I do not mind. I would just come back as one of you. Because I've always found I come back as the opposition. So you know, the cosmic justice is you come back as the other side. This guy here on the right is Dr. Norman Delaney. He found the picture of Bailey, and this guy on the left is John McIntosh Keller, the Alabama. He was my brother. Norman has his memory and face. Now, what we're doing this next phase is just look at the faces. If it swims like a duck, flies like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a flipping duck. That's what we say. You know? This is a good rough scientific adage. So you know, human faces are very unique. As part of our recognition system of each other, because we're individuals and we're self-aware, we have to recognise ourselves. Dolphins, interestingly, can also recognise themselves because they are very similar to us, and a lot of us have got dolphin memory crossovers. So here's Norman. I like that one. He's popping out the grave there. It's quite good. That's Colonel Tom Parker's grave in Corpus Christi, Texas. He's even got a lighthouse on his desk in the shape of a mouse mat, which somebody gave him, and he's propped it straight in front of him so he can see the lighthouse, just like I knew the lighthouse. That jolly lighthouse I used to paint over and over again. Here's his tomb. He's got a nice big tomb. I've got a little tiny tomb next door to him, which is rubbish. But it's all about love. This is Mary O'Sullivan. Mary O'Sullivan. This is Mary Sullivan here, who was a feisty Catholic girl, aged 18, who I got engaged to in Le Gru, who was head of RE, the Catholic convent school when we merged with them, and I was head of science. She was the witness, and halfway through being a witness, she started to remember things, and I hadn't told her. And I said, how did you know that? She said, well, I don't know, I remember it. She said, I must have been there. I said, well, you're not Sally with blonde hair, because this is all about blonde ladies. And then I found out, oh my God, he had a second go at getting engaged, because all he wanted to do was get engaged, get married, or whatever. He's 43, she's 18, and I said, Mary Sullivan, he had 2 goes at getting married. Mary Sullivan. And she said, oh my God, my name is Rosemary O'Sullivan. So she had Mary Sullivan memories. She came round to have a cup of coffee the other day. Well, I made her goat's cheese and avocado and salad and that. So, yeah, we're happy. We're in the Matrix. We're partying on, dudes. It was a real bust-up, and we never got engaged, didn't have any money, and it was a nightmare. So we completed it. I met her when she was 43, and I was 43 when she left in the last episode. This is what I remember, running around the cornfields. You tell me you can't remember that. Lying in a cornfield with a beautiful woman in Georgia with a heat on your body. She said, there's one thing wrong with that picture. I used to have my top off. I said, well, I being a gentleman, I didn't want to paint that. So. This is it. We ended up with a bust up at the station. I actually drew that in front of her whilst we were sat eating lunch at school, one lunchtime as you do. And I was worried about the top of the building there, because I thought that was wrong, and it actually turned out to be correct. And this was when she left. She went off in a huff and left me. And we never completed the journey until I met her in this life. But my real love was Sally. Sally lived by the lighthouse, and she was blonde and beautiful. She was the angel of Sapelo Island, and she was who I wanted to marry. I would move mountains. I didn't mind about the Yankees and Civil War and all that damn shooting and stuff. I wanted to marry this blonde lady who was my angel. You know, that's what I want to marry. And in the end, it never happened. I used to make all, like, Close Encounters. I used to make all these lighthouse pictures, and even look, I'm making a model of it in Ibiza. I was surrounded by blonde ladies on the beach, which has probably triggered the memory. This is it, the lighthouse. I could see the lighthouse from where I lived, and there's the lighthouse as it is today. They've redone it. In 1996, they repainted it and rebuilt it. So it's all there exactly like it was. This is my house from where I could see the lighthouse, and this is my mother, and this is Sally here in the blonde hair, and this is my sister Hetty. This is Sally. I gave Sally the picture from the Civil War. That picture of me cost me a damn lot of money, and I was going to give her the picture so that I could, she would remember me and not buzz off with some other guy whilst I was away fighting. This is our goodbye, 1862. This was the last time I saw her. She disappeared the Yankees burnt Darien. If you watch Glory, the film Glory is based on Darien, where they burnt Darien. 54th Massachusetts burnt my hometown. This was my image of Sally. Sally was my angel. She's the angel from the light. It's like Cold Mountain. When they made Cold Mountain, they made my film. It was Sally in the Lighthouse, and in the film it's Nicole Kidman, which works for me, and Cold Mountain. I dragged my wife, who's got blonde hair, and my daughter, who's aged 2, all the way to America, and we went around all the battlefields. And when I got to Appomattox, I rolled up my flag I made when I was 13. I was 37 and 7 weeks old. When I found out about Bailey 9 years later, he was 37 and 8 weeks old when he surrendered. So I took my family to America, reenacted everything to the minute almost, to the week, and reenacted these memories. Subliminal imagery. We knew nothing about Bailey when we took this picture. This is my daughter. My daughter is Sally. My daughter is Sally. I didn't have to look for it too far. There's the lighthouse. SeaWorld. That's our happiest place. If you think you've lost somebody in one life, you meet them again. And usually they're under your nose. You don't even realise. I took a picture of my daughter in Florida, because we were those old-time films. And I bought every picture of this one. And she just walked in. And I was putting these boots on. I wasn't too happy with boots, because I like boots as well as helmets. Boots. And then we found a picture of Sally, and when I showed Harriet Sally, she said, "That's me." She said, "That looks like me." And that was just a, I don't push it on her. I mean, she's got her own life, does her own thing. It's a different time zone. She's developed, but she's an old soul. She is from that past. I put her on the front of the book. Here's Callow, knew where I lived. There's the house. We found a picture of the house, just like I'd drawn. Folkestone, yes. I was born in Folkestone. This is the bogus Folkestone. I was born in the real Folkestone here with the knee, and the knee on the end. I love cannons. There's a picture of a nice cannon. I was there in 1862. That's Oakley. Everything else is just like, whoa. When I got to Macintosh County, they've all got guns, pickup trucks, and big dogs, and don't like the government. I thought, yes, I'm home. This is where I belong. Here's a picture. We took this picture of me there, and then we found this picture a week later, and I recognised myself in the photograph when they showed it to me. I even knew why it was there with the log. And it's me, same shoulders. I used to be a long bone in the Middle Ages, so I've got shoulder difference. I'm even stood in the same position almost. There's a picture. I knew where the log was. I knew what all the people were. They said, "Oh my God," and then they verified it by checking the photograph, and they found it was all accurate in my head. 2 years before, I'd drawn that log. There's the log. There's me defending against the Yankee gunships. This was all true. This is why that photograph was taken there, because that's where the action was. And we were behind that log, which is why we were firing. And this is in 1901. We've gone back there to initiate the start there. Here's my flag. This is my grave. This is me beating the Matrix. This is my grave. This is me. I've beaten the video game. This is a video game, and I've beaten it. It was fantastic. This was the culmination of my whole life. Just this one action, this one moment. And I thought, God, they've even got the date wrong when I died. It's 1912, not 1913. So, coincidentally, normally give me the things, the documents. So I actually got the Yankee government to pay for a new headstone. I thought that was really cool because I'm not a taxpayer. In America, and they gave me a new headstone with the correct date on, and they even did a ceremony, and you see the guys dressed how I wanted to be as an officer, and the other guys dressed how I was because I was a private, and they gave me this certificate for finding it all out, and they made me a doctor in quantum physics for discovering how the memory thing works. So here's the book, Rebel Spirit. Now, we're very quickly drop the other because I'm running out of time. We meet people on journey. This is Viking Tom. Viking Tom I taught at Hartsdown. He attended my little Dungeons and Dragons club. 20 years. He spent 20 years trying to track me down. He found me a few years ago, and he has all the Viking memories I had. He's been in the same places in Norway, same places in Iceland. He's my son from Viking times. He spent 20. It's unusual for a pupil to spend 20 years trying to track you down because he feels there's a connection. He just happened to know this lady. This lady here is Adriana De Salvo, who happens to have the memory of my sister, Hetty. I painted that picture in 2002, and then in 2007, Adriana contacted me through Tom. We talked for 3 days, and she knew me better than I knew myself. This is a 32-year-old Canadian Italian who lives in Toronto, who's never seen me, who knows me better than myself. She's my sister. She was my favourite sister then. We knew each other for nearly 80 years. I was sad. I didn't mind about me being buried there, but I got very sad when I saw Hetty was buried next to me. You can see my face suddenly changed from being happy to being very sad. And Roger Lewis managed to capture it on picture. And then there she is, back with me. Again, many lives. Together. Ancient Rome, Viking times. She knew Ava in Viking times. She lived with me in Norway in Viking times. Now she lives in Canada. Her name is Cavalieri, which is cavalryman, and that comes up over and over again. Forbidden Science, how it works. Here's my book about Forbidden Science. You can download all this. This is the images from it. Quantum universe, particles come into existence from nothing, quantum fluctuation. Makes a sort of spaghetti, which is the neural matrix of the quantum universe. The pluses and minuses, the offs and ons, zeros and ones that make up the matrix. There's a picture of a better rendition than mine. So you get all this, you get the subatomic particles. At the tip of the iceberg is what you see around you. It's underpinned by a vast energy field. Brain is a modem, that's what we are really. We need a body to swim around in, or walk around in. I prefer this one because no money and we can play in the oceans and just eat sardines. It's excellent. Mandelbrot set, fractals. The ultimate fractal is Mandelbrot set, discovered in 1985 by Benno Mandelbrot. That's the nearest thing you can wear on a t-shirt to life, death, the universe and everything. As a mathematical solution for why we're here. Everything's sacred geometry. This is our Earth as a stylised energy grid. And you can see all the energy points on it. Einstein, genius for his time. We've now moved beyond Einstein. He didn't trust his own quantum calculations, and that, he said, was his biggest mistake, because he was a product of the 19th century. The Nazis and all these people have been using this technology and stuff right from World War II. So the real craft, the flying saucers, Americans have been playing with this stuff. They've got black triangles that fly around and zoom about. They've been playing with this in secret for 60 years. They're like little boys with a game in a sandpit, and they won't let anybody else play. And this is what's holding us back. There's the energy grid on the Earth. Notice where Florida is. Yes, that's why I was born in Georgia. It's near Atlantis. That's the centre of Atlantis there, down by Florida. That's where we lived when we were Atlantis. That's why Atlanta, Georgia is called Atlanta. Because that name disappeared, because it's in the subconscious, and it just popped out. It wasn't supposed to be called Atlanta, Georgia, but it gravitated because it's right next to where Atlantis was. It's Bimini Atoll and that little area of the Caribbean. And here we are. This is what we really are. This is our Stone Age gateway. DNA roots us to the land. Here we are in all our glory. Sun, Earth, Moon. You see all the little Celtic spirals. People show me their Celtic spiral tattoos today. They're on that Newgrange type rock there. That's a description of the subatomic universe and the waves and how they make particles. This is what we do. We plug ourselves into the energy grid. We meditate. We draw energy from the universe. We're actually multidimensional. It's expressed through geometry. These are rotating geometry types there. DNA is a ratcheted dodecahedron with pentagram side triggers. We are a holographic spacesuit. There we are. Chakra system. Plugged into the energy of the universe, which is a holographic universe, and we're holographic beings. That's what we really are. And what do we do in the Matrix? Well, it's all about emotion. So, you get born, you have relationships, and then you die. That's what it's all about. The whole universe is about relationships. I used to look at Star Trek and think, what a waste of a program. It's all about my dad doesn't love me anymore. He's never praised me. He's always never said anything good about me. I thought, what a boring story, but actually, that's what the universe is about. It's all about relationships, how you get on with each other. So we come to Covenant General. I did it the second time. I found this painting. This is Amsterdam. Here's me, same face, 1638, and now reenacting the same memories. I speak fluent Dutch. I lived in Holland at the same ages. I even made this helmet. This is the helmet I made, second version, and that's the real helmet. That's William Bailey's helmet. You can see similarity of what came out of my head with no plans and the real helmet. There's the painting, lovely big painting. It was a shooting club. We used to shoot longbows in Amsterdam. I even found the door where you go through back there. This is my friend Robert. It's not just me. This is my friend Robert. He's on the same painting. We've been lifelong mates. On the painting, he's Major General Sir James Lumsden, my second in command. I'm General William Bailey. And here he is alive. Every time I suddenly realised, suddenly clicked, Robert, I've always been friends with him. And I kept looking at the painting, I know him. You know, it's James Lumsden, I know that, I worked that one out. And then another 2 years went past, and I suddenly realised, oh my God, it's Robert. And Robert can remember, he can remember. He doesn't like it, he hates violence, hates war, he's got a naval memory as well. He remembers more sort of Nelsonian naval memory. But it started with our Dutch adventures. Here's us at Marston Moor, there's William Bailey on his horse. A general is just somebody that has to be shot at, otherwise nobody follows. So you've got to be an idiot on a horse that's prepared to stick their head up and get shot at, while the men will only follow you then. Robert, as Major General Sir James Lumsden, went and got reserves, and that's why we have democracy, because we won Marston Moor. Bailey was a friend of Cromwell's, which saved his life 4 years later when he had to surrender to Cromwell. He then became an Ironside. So, together forever. Every time I look at Robert, what have you got to worry about? Nothing. There's Robert. Oh, look at him. Ha, it's Robert. Same as the picture. Brilliant. We beat the system. There's me on a horse. That's me sorting things out without revolvers this time. Viking memory. Here we go. Viking memory. Norway. Notice the similarity to the Confederate flag. Here's me reenacting the Viking memories. What's that got to do with anything? Well, I showed you all that earlier on. I met Ava. Ava's the lady on the left. She is my sister from Viking times, and she is the crop circle coordinator for Norway. And she is my sister. She knows the same things I know. She wanted to talk to me. It's not just me wanting to talk to her, she wanted to talk to me. She can remember. I used to leave her in charge of the farm when I went away. Here's me with my face, and you can see there's a family similarity in that. And Ava's a teacher in Oslo, and she's the crop circle coordinator. No accident, crop circles, no accident. It's brought us all together. It's a calling card. We're all coming together because of the crop circles. This is why crop circles are family resemblance. There we go. She had the same painting in the same place I remember. That's the painting. That's what I remember. She had the same painting out of all Norway on a wall. She has a painting in the same place I remember. What's the chances of that? Her name is de Ruyter. William Bailey married Annika de Ruyter. It's the same thing in Norwegian as the name there. Cavalier is cavalryman. It's all the same thing. It's matrix. We went into Oslo, got stadship. Saxon memory. Crop circles. I said if I ever wanted a crop circle that meant something to me, this was in 1998, I wanted to be that one. They gave me that one in 2007. There's 5 of them. In that crop circle, I met. That's just wonderful crop circle. That just does things to my head. I met this lady on the left. This is Rosie Anderson. Rosie Anderson, magnet. Universe, boom, made it all go bang, 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 bang. There's Rosie. She was the princess. It sounds grand now, but they're only just tribal huts and things like that. It's like Riders of Rohan, you know, she was like Aylwin. She's actually Aylwin, in Riders of Rohan. And I was a bodyguard. I was a bodyguard in that's when I lost my eye. She knows all the same places in Wiltshire I know. She feels at home in Wiltshire. It's the same. Same. I took my memorabilia back. I actually realised I lived here. I sat there for 15 years in this life trying to work out the puzzle without knowing. Only to realise in 2006 I actually flipping well lived there. So I took my stuff back there. There she is. I saw Helen this year, and Helen and Rosie, they've all got past life connections, but Rosie and me are like that. Case histories. Margaret Mitchell on the right, and on the left we have Diane Seaman, who has Margaret Mitchell's memory, same face. Jeff Keane is General John Brown Gordon. General John Brown Gordon was Governor of Georgia and famous for the Confederate surrender of Appomattox, and Jeff Keane has his face and memory. He's been on several channels on TV in America. He's a friend of mine. This lady is Lucy Pickens on the right, on the left, sorry, and she was Governor of South Carolina's wife, and on the right is this lady here, who's a friend of General Pickett's, who's got the same memory and face as Lucy Pickens. Here's General Pickett, dancing with Lucy Pickens. Paul Carabin right, he has the same face as General Pickett, same memory, he had flashbacks at Gettysburg, lost 7,000 men in 20 minutes, which is not much fun. His wife, Sally Pickett, LaSalle Pickett, is his wife now, Diane Pickett. So Diane met Paul Carabin, sorry, it's Diane Carabin now. It's very difficult, it's multi-dimensional. So she met General when she was 12, and the other one LaSalle met General when she was 12. Guy down the road is his brother. Dwight is Charlie Pickett, and Charlie Pickett is General Pickett's brother, and there's Dwight. This is Sarah from Chicago on the right, and on the left is Virginia Pickett. And Virginia Pickett, Sarah contacted him and said, I'm your sister. There's the three of them in the Civil War. There's the three of them on my birthday 2 years ago, 2008, well, 3 years ago now. What a wonderful universe. We have nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. And the people you're meant to be with are right around you. They're with you. They never go away. General Pickett goes back to Gettysburg, he plays Dixie in the wheat field, and he gets all these orbs around him, and each of them's got a face-in of his men. He's releasing them back to the light because they all died and they're stuck in Gettysburg and they need to go back to the light and move on. They're all stuck. And he said one of them even took his hat off to him and put the hat back because he recognised the general. And he could see them. He could see them, but not just a camera trick. He could actually see these orbs. With the, he said very clear. This guy took his hat off to the general. I do fireworks. I like blowing up things. I do fireworks. This is Universal Fireworks of Hythe, and here's this famous picture of the 1st Tennessee Light Artillery. The three of them are my friends in Hythe. They're all on the same picture. Nick's the sergeant on the left. Kevin is the colonel, and Shotgun Shane is the gunner. And there's Kevin wearing the same white helmet as he's wearing a hat in the picture. Still blowing up things. They're just rebels in the Matrix. Universal Fireworks, that's what we are. They're still doing it, still blowing up things. And looking back at the Civil War, my regiment, the 5th Georgia Cavalry, were with the 1st Tennessee Artillery in the Battle of Kennesaw Mountain. We helped them drag their cannons to the top of the mountain. And that's my memory, is drawing cannons at, and that's with them. And they live next door to me. They live in Hythe. Yeah. Crop circles, it's all Stargates and things like that. Here's Billy the Kid, this is David Baxter. This chappie, he walked like Billy the Kid, he talked like Billy the Kid, and then I suddenly found he was Billy the Kid. He was looking up at me. He has the same memory as Billy the Kid. He walks like a cowboy, talks like a cowboy. He's Billy. I call him Billy Bob. Billy Bob? Yeah. And he's recently got over sort of lung cancer and some other problems, and he went back to Lincoln County, Georgia, courtesy of a crop circle connection from last year. Lady who was an airline hostess for AA took him over there, and he went back to all the same places where Billy the Kid went. It was like a real healing for him after all these tremendous operations and things he'd had. Billy the Kid on the right. David there. Yeah, time. Yeah, finish. Right, I've gone over time, but anything you want to do, tell me. This is my mate, he's on Bismarck. I'll shut up now, sorry. Right, any questions quickly, because you've got to go.